I'm Molly Line, and you are watching The Strategy Room, a war of words between two presidential candidates, Jeb Bush and Donald Trump, who both held dueling town halls up in the first-in-the-nation primary state of New Hampshire. Trump calling Bush, quote, low energy, and the former Florida governor essentially portraying the real estate mogul as a tax-hiking Democrat. Here with reaction are Ellen Ratner, bureau chief of Talk Radio News Service and a Fox News contributor, and also Lee Carter, a partner at Maslansky and Partners. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining me. You know, it's always great when politics really gets rolling, and those town halls in New Hampshire are one of those things that all the candidates really have to do. And in this case, it's been fascinating to see these two essentially front runners. These are some of the guys at the top of the lump right now as this process moves forward, starting to go after each other. Is now the time for this to happen? And what is Trump's goal? And what is Bush's goal? Ellen, let's start with you.
Sure, why not have it happen right now? If you're doing town halls, your goal is to be the nominee, the candidate of the Republican Party, and that's why they're going to go after each other. Now, is Teflon Trump really the guy? I don't know, but so far nothing has stuck. And his calling of Jeb Bush, what he called him, is, you know, this is just typical. But is it going to stick? Honestly, we don't know. It depends on the voter in New Hampshire.
Lee, what do you think about that? That's the whole point of this process, particularly these town halls up in New Hampshire, where these critical First Nation primary voters are all waiting to hear the candidates. They take the process so seriously there. They get out. They want to see them in person. But when they start to go after each other, in this case, is it going to be effective?
Look, I think it is really important that we get all the issues out there. And I think that Trump is, it's not surprising that Trump is doing this. I think the thing that Trump does really well is he gives voice to the frustrations and the thoughts that people have that they're not willing to say themselves. So I think the idea that he's calling Bush low energy, I think that's what, when I'm out there talking to the folks that I talk to in America, that's what they're saying. So I think it does resonate. What's interesting is to see Bush now jumping in and starting to criticize others. I thought that he was sort of taking the high ground, but now I think he's joining it, and I think it's not surprising that this is the time in the campaign. We've got so many candidates, they've got to go after each other a little bit.
You know, I don't think Jeb Bush can go a whole lot lower. I think he can only go up.
Yeah, Ellen, as you were saying, you know, he was thought to be the kind of establishment candidate in this race, that he would be the one that brought in the big money and would easily pull in a lot of Republican voters. And to a certain extent, the media really downplayed Trump, thinking this is going to be a novelty, this is interesting and entertaining. But the voters seem to be pouring out. He just had to move his next rally to a larger stadium out in Alabama that holds 40,000 people. They say they're expecting 30,000. So do you think the voters are taking Trump seriously, and that's why now is the time that, say, for instance, Bush, who is also a front runner to a certain extent, is going after Mr. Trump?
I have said on this very program many times, the people vote for who they want in their living room for the next 4 years and who they know. They have already had Trump in their living room, so they're just inviting him back, and that's what I think is going on.
Lee, what do you think? What does Mr. Bush need to do right now, Governor Bush need to do to push back against this and to get an edge and to get in on this and to pull in some of those people that are showing so much enthusiasm right now for Trump?
You know, I think Trump is tying into a really, really real frustration that American people have. What he's not doing is providing solutions. He's not painting a picture of what America can be like should all of these problems get fixed. I think the opportunity for Jeb right now is to start painting that picture, start telling us the vision. I think traditional rhetoric and polished sound bites aren't going to work, but I do think that if he starts addressing those problems, really listening to Americans and say, I get your frustrations, this is what my policies are going to do. I don't think people care as much about the policy themselves as much as the picture of what it's going to be like, and I think he needs to make that pivot.
All right, Ellen Ratner, Lee Carter, thanks for joining us.